Hi, my name is Ryan Winkleman. I am a biologist in California. I was asked by your professor, Dr. Kim Komatsu, to put together a short video talking about my experience in the field of ecology as an occupation. So I am out right now in the city of Irvine, just going on a hike at my favorite place to go birding in Orange County. It's called Bomber Canyon. It's on the Irvine Ranch. But Kim asked me if I could spend a few minutes talking about my experience. So I started out in ecology in college. In 2005, as part of my my requirements for the honors program that Kim and I were both in, we had to put together a thesis and do research. And I decided that I wanted to do research outside. I didn't want to be inside. So I joined a plant ecology lab called the Suiting Lab. That's where I met Kim. And that's what got me into ecology. I graduated in 2007 and went straight into environmental consulting. I was hired as an entry-level biologist with a company called Power Engineers out of Anaheim, California. And I started at, I think, $17 an hour. I'm now 15 years later. I work for a company called Michael Baker International as a senior biologist, semi-managerial, full-time. So that's the path that I've taken over the last 15 years. As far as, and I'm just going to address the questions that she asked me, as far as my day-to-day work, my daily work consists of pretty much two things. I'm either doing surveys, so I will go out, somebody has a project they want to do somewhere, I will go out and do a survey of the site, see what plants occur there, see what animals occur there at the time that I'm there, see what could occur there based on records in the area, determine if there's any protected species that could occur out there, and then come up with a plan for how the project can get permitted through the environmental agencies. So through the California Department of Fish and Wildlife or the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service or other agencies, depending on if you're on military land or on federal land, the Forest Service or BLM. So that's part of my job, is going out and doing surveys. I do general surveys. I do species-specific focus surveys because I have permits from the state and federal agencies that allow me to conduct surveys for protected species. And then the other part of my job is writing reports. So all of these things need to go into environmental documents to support the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, as well as a National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA. And then I write that stuff up, and it goes into the environmental record. Best part about my job is probably first getting paid to go birding, which is a big hobby of mine and a very important part of my personal life. Because really, if I go to a project site, I'm basically just birding. And then also getting access and getting to do things in places that the normal public doesn't get to do. Getting into restricted areas, getting into areas that are close to the public, and getting to see things that most people don't get to see. So this wasn't what I always wanted to do, though. Kim asked me if my high school self would be surprised at what I do now. And yeah, he would be, because when I was in high school, I was doing biomed. And when I got into college at UCI, I was continuing biomed. I was planning to go into medicine. And then when I had to get the thesis for the campus-wide honors program, that's what started to get me looking towards ecology, and I decided ultimately I don't really want to go into medicine anymore. I like working outside. I would rather just do ecology or biology, whichever way you want to look at it. But I didn't want to go into medicine anymore. So after several years of being on that trajectory, my high school self would be surprised at where I ended up and what I'm doing now. So thinking about the questions that she sent me, advice that I have for ecology majors: diversify yourself while you have the opportunity to learn from experts in the field. Diversify yourself and take as many ecology classes as you can, if that's what you're interested in and you think that's the direction you want to go. So that would be things like plant ecology, wildlife ecology, if there's taxon specific wildlife ecology things, behavioral ecology, community ecology, all of these different things. See what it is that you like and what your interests are, and then talk to your professors, talk to those teachers, and tell them that you're interested and see what advice they have to allow you to keep doing that stuff, either through additional classes or any job connections that they may have. Because in order to get to where they are, and they have to go through undergrad, they have to go through sometimes a master's, sometimes straight to a PhD, but it requires going to multiple schools and you make contacts. So talk to your professors, figure out what it is you like, and talk to your professors and tell them what you like, and ask how you can further your studies and how you can continue learning about that stuff. And then finally, why I think it's important to study ecology, even if you may not necessarily go into the field of ecology. Well, first, it allows you to be in a position where you can potentially make a difference in the preservation of natural resources, by understanding more what's going on, and things that could be impacted and things that are changing on an ecological level. And also, and this is something that I learned when I started getting into birds big time in 2010, is once you learn stuff like plants or like birds or mammals or whatever it is, frogs or lizards, whatever, you can't really turn that off. I'm walking around here, and I'll walk to a shopping center and I hear birds. I can't turn it off. I hear birds and I identify them, and it's just cool to to be able to walk around and know what's around you, because most people are probably oblivious to it. They hear a bird and they think, oh, it's a bird, or they don't even notice it. But when you know that stuff, it makes such a difference in your enjoyment and your understanding and your involvement in your surroundings. It's very, very cool. And it's something that I'm very glad that I'm able to do. Not just recognizing the plants where I am, which in this case is largely a grassy field, because it used to be used for cattle grazing. But understanding the plants that I'm seeing around my house and around Orange County and Southern California. And then, like I said, being able to identify birds basically wherever I go, and knowing what's around me. It's very cool. So I hope this was helpful. This is a little bit of a different perspective because I went into consulting instead of into the academic part of ecology. But hopefully this is a good perspective for you, and I wish you all lots of luck.